you very much, Lauren. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the LEC post-game lobby after an action-filled day on the Rift. I'm Quickshot, joined by Amazing and Memento, both from Schalke. Mr. Stuggenschneider, you'll actually be joining us on broadcast in a week or two's time, so thank you for joining some PGL as an early taste. Let's start by talking about Game 5. I have two junglers with me. G2 just clapped Misfits. And Jankos is Elise. I'll start with the better jungler, Memento. What do you think of Jankos' performance and just how well G2 played to take down Misfits?
I think G2 are playing really well right now. I think at the start they looked like they were just playing solo queue together, but I feel like they have actually started to play as a team, and that makes them really scary. But on the regard of Jankos, I actually didn't think he played that well before.
Okay.
Or like last spring split, he was kind of slumping, even though like it was this. It was in summer when he played like a lot of Braum and shit like that.
Yeah, final comps, dude.
Yeah, so I felt like he never was that threatening as a jungler anymore, and he was actually not performing that well. But I feel like this year he's actually like motivated again to like try hard and become really good. And I think that's really showing right now, and he's really performing really well.
I mean, amazing. You played against him last summer, of course. And
I don't remember that. Especially the last part. I didn't
of course, tell our viewers as well. I believe you're coaching the SK Prime team. Is that correct?
The Schalke 04 Prime.
Yeah. Schalke 04, thank you.
Evolution. We're called Schalke 04 Evolution. But yeah, like obviously played against Jankos last year, and I kind of agree with Memento. Like he's really good individually, but he rarely shows, especially when his team like kind of needs a macro approach. I think he kind of takes a step back, similar to what I sometimes do, where he basically helps with the team first and then basically comes in with his own individual play. Whereas this year, he doesn't need to do that. Everyone on his team is basically fake on their own level, so he can just do what he wants to and it will work out.
Amazing. You've been around the scene a very long time. You've played against a lot of teams. Is this going to be the second team that goes 18-0 in Europe?
That's actually a good question. I think it's entirely possible, but then again, they have to face Schalke once more. So maybe I have to hype them up, but I think out of all the teams that I've seen in the past 2 to 3 years, I think this may be the one, yeah.
Memento, is this the scariest team? There was a line that the Shoutcasters said a little bit ago. They said, it's the strongest start that any team in Europe has ever had, in a split. The way that this team's gone 9-0.
I mean, that's what I said. I said, like, in the beginning, I saw a lot of weaknesses in them, and they weren't really playing as a team or, like, coordinated at all. But now they're looking really scary because they're actually starting to play as a team.
Yeah.
And they have 5 fakers, like you said, which is...
How? Okay.
We can beat them, of course, Like,
of course.
We're going to beat them, like,
look,
yeah, for sure.
17-1 split, okay? Schalke is going to go 1-1.
Yeah, of course.
Look, let's step away from the game. I mean, G2 obviously smacked Misfits. We have to focus on G2 because of how well they're playing. Key player of the game, Jankos, he picks up 70% of the votes, so congratulations to Jankos. But I want to turn to the patch and the meta a little bit. Memento, we played 9.3. We saw, some of the changes in the AD carry position. We saw Perks running, i.e. Yasuo down bottom. I mean, what's it been like scrimming on this patch, playing on the patch, and now playing on stage as well?
It's kind of difficult for me to say because we weren't able to scrim that much this week with Upset being really sick. But I definitely see now with the crit changes that it's really, like, crit ADs are really brutal right now. And I think Yasuo is probably one of the strongest.
How much does it, like, confuse you? Or how much more difficult does it make it when Perks is running Yasuo bot? Like,
I mean, that's the thing about G2, which makes them really confusing to draft versus, because they can flex all their picks. They can play anything. And that's just, I think it's just not about Yasuo, like Perks playing Yasuo. I think
it's everything, right?
I think just their entire team. I'm sure Wonder could even, like, pull out the Yasuo if he wanted to. It wouldn't be, maybe it wouldn't be successful, but, he could pull it out. You can still pick it.
Amazing step back. Talk to me a little bit as a coach. Coming into this week, this patch, this meta, when you look at the games, did it play out as expected? How different is it from last week?
I mean, last week, basically, honestly, the first couple of weeks of the LEC were really, really similar. And now this week, it's actually like a lot of picks, especially in the AD carry positions, are being outscaled really hard now. For example, the Lucian and the Ezreal that are really, really popular amongst the teams and were really popular are now suddenly being outscaled by the likes of Caitlyn, by the likes of Xayah, these kind of champions that are just created carries that pause back in 3-4 items, So I think teams will adapt to it a lot more. They haven't yet, but we'll probably see a lot more late game team fights and comps that play towards it.
Do we get to late game, though? Because like,
I mean, not if you're playing against G2 or if you play against a team that's organized, yeah.
Interestingly today, right, I was looking at some league-wide game time averages. So between weeks 1 and 4, it was 32 minutes and 20 seconds. And excluding the G2 game, which is just under 30 minutes, it dropped 2.5 minutes to 30 minutes of game time today. It's a small sample size, of course.
Yeah.
And I know there's more gold. It feels like a little bit more gold early. So, you know, will we see games going a little bit later and setting up those 5v5s?
I mean, it should actually happen, but it could also just be right now that teams are still adapting and they're still like on the verge to basically basically get into the late game AD carries. So maybe some teams are just struggling with the transition. But I honestly believe in it. But then again, LEC meta may just be really different to what potentially could be the best option, because every region has their own meta and they kind of acclimate themselves towards that. And whoever is the best team will basically tell the other teams what's going to be played. You know, so G2 is not a late game team because the AD carry is not supposed to be late game AD carry. So I don't think that necessarily the LEC meta will be that crit heavy, even though it should be.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I feel like it could definitely be a late game meta in terms of AD carry, but I still don't think you can just give up the entire early game. That's why I think we still see like Elise and Lee Sin and these carry junglers, and I think it's way too crucial to just give up the entire early game, considering how much gold there is.
I'm really excited to see how this meta continues to evolve, because it's an exciting year for competitive League of Legends with all of the champion changes and whatnot. I want to step back. Thank you for talking about the patch. I want to talk about the standings. Here, of course, we've now done the first half of the spring split. It is wrapped up. G2 remain undefeated. Rogue, 0 and 9. Schalke 04 are now in second place. So the two questions I have for you is I want to talk about the battle for second place, and I want to talk about the battle for 6th place. All right, let's start with second. Schalke picking up a win today, Vitality losing. There was a lot of discussion around, is Vitality the second best team in the league? Many people thought coming into this week that may have been defendable and true. After seeing Vitality drop today, Memento, you know, how do you care to respond?
I mean, I think we're definitely better than Vitality, and we're actually second place. I don't even know why people kept doubting us, even though like we won against them in the first game of the split, even though they're, I mean, to be fair, they were just like, they're really confused chickens like on that game. Like they were legit just running to Nash every single, they were like pushing top and then they just ran to Nash and then we're like, oh shit, we don't have enough damage, guys, let's get out of here. And then they just like leave and then they just do the same thing over and over again. Yeah. So I would like to believe that wasn't like the real Vitality, but I definitely feel like we're just a lot better team. Like we play a lot more coordinated and we play a lot more properly. And we actually know how to play the game on like in a proper way.
Amazing. Has that been true the entire split?
I mean, I think the first win of Schalke against Vitality was like, it could have gone both ways, honestly. But I think how the split has progressed, I think Origin is a bigger threat to Schalke's second place claim than Vitality is, in my opinion. Because I feel like that Origin actually has the tools to become a really good, well-rounded team where they can play multiple styles. Whereas Vitality still has the same issues as last year, and I don't think it will change anytime soon because there are 4 out of the 5 players returning, and the only other change is someone that is a Korean that comes over and basically does not influence the team structure per se.
He plays the same style.
Yeah, he plays the same style, so he's just acclimating to the team, whereas they're not changing anything, and if the game is not early game focused, like completely early game focused, and they cannot snowball the game in the first 10 minutes, I don't think that Vitality will even compete for the second place.
I have to follow up. Yeah. You said Origin is the team that could compete for second, right? The title of it right now at the halfway mark. The next question I had in the battle for 6th was Fnatic, Origin, or SK? Now, Origin picked up a win. I know you've made a very bold statement, right? But we've got to fill out who our playoff teams are. And who's going to be going 6th and 7th? You know, who's dropping out? Is SK going to be contending? I mean, you've already made a statement that Origin is going to keep winning, right? So let's talk about the 6th, 7th position.
All right, I got to make some more bold statements. I honestly think that, I mean, it's just my personal opinion, but I think that Misfits, they have really good players on paper, but I feel like that they're not clicking as a team at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if they drop out of the playoff race simply because they're not. They do the same. It's the same as Vitality. Honestly, they do the same thing over and over again. Last year they have played to Hansama the first, like I think, basically 9 wins that they had.
Yep.
Like obviously they had a lot of synergy with Senkox too, but then they still reverted back to the Hansama focused style. And I think even this year when they won games, Hansama was like 2-0, 3-0 to begin with, and it's the same thing. You know, make it early play bottom. If that doesn't work out, then it's just doomed. So I don't think that Misfits will be the team that will actually contend for a playoff spot unless they heavily change their complete style. I would rather put my money right now on Fnatic, simply because the heart of a champion is still like something that is there, and they have won 2 splits in a row and then went to the World Finals. And I think there's merit in what Broxer said, where I think it was like a Twitch quote, whatever it is, where he said, honestly, he doesn't know why they're suddenly bad, and they have to figure it out, and they can figure it out, and I do think that.
The only team you didn't touch on, Memento, I want to ask you about is SK Gaming.
SK.
Can they sneak into top 6?
I think it's kind of hard for them to sneak
why?
into top 6. I just feel like their team just don't know how to play without their jungler being really ahead. And I feel like Selfmade is a really big part of their team. And I also feel like the reason why they're doing really well right now, or not, did really well, they had like a pretty good start. It's also because they scrimmed 3 of their players. Were scrimming like an entire year on Mad Lions. So I think they had like an easy time to, like that kind of a head start. But I don't feel like they could like improve any further.
Okay,
sort of.
so one-dimensional
like
style. You think the ceiling's a little bit lower?
Yeah, I feel like the ceiling is a bit lower. They could definitely like sneak in some wins and still be like at the top 7-6, like in between there. But I feel like they could not. I feel like this is kind of their ceiling.
I'm going to ask you, Memento, and then Amazing. Which 4 teams will not make it into playoffs? Make it simpler. Which 3 teams outside of Rogue? Okay, outside of Rogue. We know the 0 and 9. So give me the next 3.
Next 3.
7, 8, 9.
I think XL will drop out of the playoff race. And then... Wait, I put in... Wait,
so you've got SK, Splice, Misfits, Fnatic.
Splice, actually. I'm not too sure about Splice as well. I feel like they have like these kind of off games where they're also really confused.
You have to give me 2 more. And I'll accept Amazing helping out here.
Okay. I'll just say it. I think SK is definitely... SK is out, as we already said. I think...
XL.
I think XL Misfits
are out.
And Misfits. Honestly,
it's just Misfits and...
it feels like Misfits. I don't know, if I was watching the games, and you know, like I'm really strategy based, so I kind of like have a fetish for that, to be fair. But if I can see someone's playstyle and acknowledge it within like spectating one game, then I don't expect the rest of League not to be able to do that either, right? Like, especially with a larger sample size. So I do think that out of all the teams in the bottom, Misfits is probably the one that is placed the most linear, and I don't expect teams to not be able to adapt to that style.
Misfits, XL, Rogue, and
SK
Gaming. Was that it? So Splice plays 6. There we go. Thank you very much. So let's see.
We didn't say that. We didn't say that.
I'm not sure about that.
We said Fnatic. Fnatic 6 probably.
Fnatic probably. Fnatic will probably make it.
Okay, interesting. All right, so we'll see whether or not it comes true. Of course, it's halfway mark. Tomorrow you're going to start doing the rematches. Schalke versus Vitality. Memento, you didn't hold any punches about the first time you played against Vitality and how they've played. How's tomorrow's matchup going to play out?
I think it's going to be like a bit of a chaotic early game because their jungler plays really aggressive, and either he's going to hard int it in my jungle, or I'm going to hard int it, but someone is going to hard int it. And it's going to be a battle of the craft. That's for sure. I won't give up any crafts.
Top tier LEC analysis.
I think I should call Dylan. I think he has to hear this.
That's my strategy going into tomorrow.
Amazing. What advice would you give an LEC jungler when you hear them saying in post-game lobby, I might int it in the jungle?
I mean, good luck in esports, I guess. I don't know, that's fine. No, but I mean, I understand what he means, because like even today, like Mowgli was... You guys play Vitality, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Mowgli was really aggressive in the early game and actually invaded Selfmade. He could have easily killed Selfmade, but then didn't do it because EQ combos on turf are sometimes hard to hit, I guess. But I honestly do think what he says holds true. Like, early game will decide a lot, and one of the junglers will be 0-2 and the other one will be 2-0.
Okay, we'll see who
but I put my money on Memento. I think he's right now like performing really well, and I'm actually... I don't want to say I'm surprised by his play, but
you just did.
But I actually am. You know, he's better, even better, like than I thought he was going to be.
We were saying in English was like it's a backhanded compliment.
No, but he's. I mean, you know, like I faced him last year, and it was easy money. But
I mean, I can also tell you guys that I was.
And he also relegated me.
Everyone thought that I was like, performed really well, but I was really stupid last year. Like I had no idea like how to play the game like.
No, when I hear him talk, like obviously from backstage or in scrims, whatever it is, I actually like. I can see a lot of the things that obviously Dylan has taught him, and obviously all the things that he's bringing to the team, and they're actually like he doesn't do any mistakes actually, And that's something that like not a lot of junglers can say about themselves within the LEC, because everyone has their int moments, whereas Memento, like he at least always brings consistency, is always a calm voice, and really helps the team out. And I think that's something we want from a jungler.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
I do have my int moments sometimes.
I mean, yeah, but you know, I cannot say this on broadcast, you know. And
Yeah, okay, no, I am the best.
Stay
That's what he's
hungry,
saying, right?
stay humble. Thank you very much for that one. Now, I haven't prepped you two, but I do have a little game that we have to play. As you know, yesterday was Valentine's Day, and in the spirit of Valentine's Day, we're going to play a game. All right. The game is called Duo Q. Right? Now, you might be familiar with the concept. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my production team to bring up some pictures. So, for example, right, I'm going to start with one. This is Deficio. So here's the example. Deficio, in our game of Duo Q, his statement is looking for someone to kiss.
I love this picture.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys to swipe left if you want to play their game, if you want to add their whatever element to your team or your comp, or swipe to remove it, and swipe right if you want to keep it. You may know the system. So I'm going to play this one. Deficio looking for someone to kiss. Swipe left, get rid of him. Veto, gone. Okay.
Right.
So, Silas, I can steal your heart. Do we like it? Do we ship it?
He seems like a coin flipper.
Coin flip? So what do you...
Get him out of here.
You're saying swipe left?
Yeah,
amazing?
get him out,
Get him out, man. Like, this guy's going to ruin my games.
Okay, coin flip.
G, swipe right right away,
Flip.
man. Yeah, that's not even a question, man.
Didn't even hesitate.
When I see those muscles, baby.
Okay, amazing. Griffin, swipe left or swipe right? Looking for competition.
Yeah, let's swipe right on that one.
Who's more competition? G2 or Schalke 04?
Schalke. I mean, I can't say against my team.
Schalke. I'd say Schalke.
Okay, two junglers. Karthus, you know what button to press? Swipe left or swipe right?
Swipe right. I love Karthus.
Why?
Yes, press R. It's really fun.
The next one, press R, press buy. This one's for Memento.
Oh, God.
For anybody that maybe doesn't remember, one
You know, I still lost that game because of the potions.
One jungler sitting opposite me forgot to... What happened that game, dude?
Okay, so we started off... Like, first, all our settings were, like, completely reversed for some reason. So we paused in-game, and I actually managed to buy, like, a machete. And I thought I already, like, finished my buy. And then we did that sneaky invade on the top tri-bush.
Yep.
And I was just walking there, and we were talking so focused, like, on the invade. And after I started my jungle, like, 10 seconds later, I'm like, alright, time to press my potion. And then I just realized, I was like, wait,
I guess you do have your in moments.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. So, I mean,
my bad.
Don't you feel bad after all that praise just a few seconds ago?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
last week, this was a swipe left moment.
Yeah.
Today, after the first half...
That's a hard swipe right, for sure. You have to.
Are you going swipe right? There we go, swipe right. And the last one, I won't be reckless with your heart, 9.3 crit carries.
I'll swipe right on that one, actually.
Yeah, that's the right one, I think.
Swipe right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's reckless, 9.3, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see, I doubted Fnatic like to actually like even get into player fights early, even winning games, you know, after the early start. But I think 9.3 is actually going to bring a change, you know? And it's already brought a change today because they won more, like, they won a game, you know, so...
Yeah.
It's an important one. I don't know if you caught the pre-show.
But there is also this thing, you know, they faced versus Splice, and Splice are not really known for being that punishing in early game.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Fnatic are lacking, like, hard. So they weren't really contesting the early game, and it really shows, like, if they can actually get through the early game, they know how to play League of Legends.
Well, I talked a little bit during Ready Check this morning about how the safe number of wins is about 9. If you go 9-9, you almost always will at least force a tiebreaker for a playoff spot. The only times teams made it into playoffs with 8 wins was last spring. And if you remember the craziness of last spring and the tiebreakers, H2K and Roccat were in 8 wins each.
I mean, last spring was just chaotic, man. Like, there was
you made it to playoffs.
Yeah, we made it to playoffs, man. And then we got smashed on stage, man.
It was such a dramatic week 9 and a pretty depressing quarterfinals. I'm not going to lie.
What quarterfinal? I never went to quarterfinals.
Just never happened.
Like, I've never been to playoffs.
Just like you never forget to buy a refillable potion, right? Those things don't happen. You just have to move past it. But yeah, so for any of the teams that are obviously racing, trying to get into playoffs, 9 wins is the safe number, 8 is there. We talked about Fnatic. If they win the games against Splice, if they pick up a win against Origin, and they beat, you know, SK, XL, and Rogue, they still have to pick up another win against a top-tier team. Tomorrow, they're playing SK. Is going to be another very important game. We've already talked about Fnatic versus Schalke. You guys made a statement. Origin is the team you believe could be contesting Schalke for second best.
I mean, he made the statement, but I kind of do it.
Okay.
I kind of do it.
Just protecting yourself.
Agree with me.
But I do kind of agree, though, that Origin does look like
What happens against G2 tomorrow? Does it look like the same slaughter we have seen every single time?
No, I think G2 will slaughter them actually.
Okay, so yes is the answer to the question.
Yeah,
but
I think
I give Origin 30 minutes actually. Like they'll have a nice 30 minutes and then they. Yeah, I think.
So just to be fair, right? Misfits got 30 minutes today.
Actually, okay, then I give them 33 and a half.
27.
33 and a half, 27. You're going to be splitting the difference. Of course, we already talked about Vitality versus Schalke. It is the match of the day tomorrow. I know your input, Memento. Maurice, I just have to get your take on this. What will be pivotal in Schalke versus Vitality to determine who wins? I know we talk junglers, right? But is it just that simple? Will, Upset versus Attila, the storyline I love to push, will that be impactful at all? You can say no and say something else.
I think Upset is just, he's just a lot, he's just a lot better. Like, it's even statistically true, like even if it wasn't my personal opinion, he was actually a lot better. So I think it's mostly going to be about the drafts, because whoever is going to draft more winning lanes is going to win the game. Like it's always the same thing as Vitality. You win more lanes, you win the game.
I agree. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. It was a real pleasure, especially for playing duo queue, so thank you for that one. Listen, over in the LCS Academy, Golden Gardens and Echo Fox are kicking off the action in just a few minutes. That's at twitch.tv/Riot Games. After the last game, we will have a rebroadcast of this LEC on the same channel. Speaking of North America, the LCS online merch store is now live at lcsmerch.com. Be sure to check it out to get your LCS gear. Once again, I want to thank my guests, Amazing and Memento, for joining us. Thank you for being with us here in Berlin. See you tomorrow for the start of the second round robin in the Spring Splits. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
With Vichichachi blinding Kennen, he gave us a big opportunity to pick Jace, and that's a very strong winning lane, so that's something we can play around in the early game.
Norscaven almost stunned up. He will get locked down underneath the tower, and that's for Fnatic. Should have enough damage to clean up Humanoid here. No flash. Fnatic gonna turn. Whippo jumps onto Kirby, just kill the AD carry. And there's Xerxes goes in, but Norscaven's so low. Glacial Fisher lands. Once again, it's Humanoid that's caught out. Xerxes jumps onto the back line. Nemesis and Hitterstang have gone all the way onto the back line of Splice, and they get two. Reckless is dominating. Easy picking for Fnatic. There's the hook. Mithy pulls back, expect already. Yuta got a killing speed and knock back, pulled into the fear beyond death. And this is a slaughter, a bloodbath in the Baron Pit. And Origin will take their 5th win of the season, going into the halfway mark with a winning record.
There we go.
There we go.
What happened here?
So Whirl it. Oh god, he gets hit. And then Cabo just goes, yeah, oh wait, it's cool. Hey buddy, not a great ult, but at least it looked nice. Ooh, yeah.
I don't get to see that interaction a lot. That was fun.
Hit tower first, hit tower first. Tower. I'm really fighting now. Joy. Joy the play. Get in the flash. J4, guys. We can end.
Ignore. Tension divided here, trying to buy a bit of time. Finn leaping back to the team. The ulti comes out. Finn not going to get the fear though. Ignore manages to live, but is immediately taken down. Schalke peeling apart the rogue players, tearing them from their base, and they're just going to immediately end the game. They could run into Maxor. This would be terrible. Goodbye, Max. Aftershock is there, buys Fevin a little bit of time, but the knockup now comes out. Perk's now going to throw the Hurricane back, not going to connect on anybody for the knockup. He wants the double. He's going in. He's never had a pentakill as an AD carry. He wants to get one. He wants to match Reckless. He's going to get another. They're not going to give it to him now. The G2 remain undefeated in their first half of the split.